Hello, fellow gamers. Fizznight here, and today we're going to talk about why WoW is still the king of MMORPGs in 2022. Of course, there's always going to be folks that like one particular or company over the other, but let's dive into why I believe, without a doubt, that WoW is still the best MMORPG to invest your time and money into. First and foremost, let's talk about atmosphere and worlds. WoW has your typical medieval archetype classes and races like dwarves, elves, gnomes, paladins, warriors, mages, and priests. The world itself takes place in what I would like to call your typical Lord of the Rings fantasy world. Now, why would this have anything to do with why WoW is still the king in 2022? The reason being is I believe most people still prefer, as I do myself, the typical medieval setting, with dragons, castles, wizards, etc. Now, I'm not saying there aren't any people out there that don't prefer the futuristic sci-fi MMO worlds. There certainly are. I'm just talking about the MMO gamer population in general. I do believe most people prefer the medieval type genre, and that's why people keep coming back to Azeroth to escape than going to, say, a newer MMO that may have more updated systems and better graphics even. The lore, countless novels, in-game cutscenes, character voicing, all gives play to one of the most gorgeous medieval fantasy realms you can devote your time to. Now this leads me into WoW's content itself and the in-game systems that by far, in my opinion, rival any of WoW's competition. Yes, even the fantastic but second place MMO Final Fantasy XIV. Sorry, there was no way I was going to finish a video like this and not talk about WoW's biggest competition when it comes to MMOs. Yes, there was an influx of players for a while at least to Final Fantasy XIV, thanks to very popular streamers like Asmongold. But the influx of players did diminish over time, as I figured it would. And one of the main reasons I believe it did, along with what I first talked about in this video, is because of endgame content like raiding and, even more importantly, some would argue, collection systems. Now, before it starts to sound like I'm cutting Final Fantasy XIV down here, believe me, I'm not. I spent countless hours playing through Final Fantasy XIV storylines all the way up to its latest expansion. I partook in the dungeons, raidings, the crafting. All the content was fantastic, but it still was not as polished as WoW's raiding when it came down to boss mechanics and raid interior design. I mean, most of Final Fantasy XIV's raids are all on this basic pie-shaped platform, and that starts to get old after you've done like 30 bosses on the same circle over and over again. Now, WoW has these beautifully made boss rooms for each raid boss, and the mechanics that tie into each room as well. There's just nothing that compares. Now, I will give props to Final Fantasy XIV's crafting system, which I do believe in some ways is more exciting and compelling than WoW's crafting system. But I think with Dragonflight, that might get one-upped as well, considering the vast revamp they are doing to crafting in the next expansion. Now let's talk about something I alluded to before, which I think is key on why WoW is still king right now. And for a lot of people, it may even be the number one reason why WoW is still the beast, the king, whatever title you want to give it, and that is World of Warcraft's collection system. WoW's system for collecting previous set gear, individual pieces, mounts, pets, toys, etc. is by far better than anything I've ever encountered in any MMO out there to date. Final Fantasy XIV does have a glamour system and wardrobe that lets you save sets and gear, but compared to WoW's interface and system, it doesn't even remotely stand up to it, in my opinion. The amount of fun and time you can spend collecting mounts, pets, and all these sets in WoW, and many people do, just makes this game unstoppable. The longer I believe people invest doing these activities and collection systems, makes them less likely to try out other MMOs, and that's an important fact, right? Because people are already heavily invested so much into WoW and collecting all these sets and mounts, and many I believe rightfully so, that they would fall behind if they invested time into another MMO. For players that like to experience that hardcore vibe, Blizzard has your back on that one too. With their classic content and servers being released these past few years, players have a choice now to play on retail or classic, or both if you have the time. The classic servers are just as polished as the retail servers, of course minus the collection tab and newer systems WoW has recently implemented. Now before I end this video, I do want to come back to one more feature I talked about earlier, and that's raiding. Now WoW has such a polished system when it comes to leveling an alt and jumping right into the highest content possible. You can farm gear quickly from the newest zones and getting gear by doing the world quests. Players don't have to grind for weeks on end to try out another class in raiding. Blizzard makes it easy for folks to level in gear in what I believe is by far the most polished leveling and gearing system in any MMO as well. You can make alts quickly, level and gear them, jump in some LFR and normal raids, and have fun getting gear, or maybe if you're lucky, a nice BOE drop that you can sell in the auction house and basically pay for your month's subscription. No other MMO has anything near as polished as this system. Now there are other little tidbits of WoW I could say can cause people to choose this game over other MMOs, but these reasons here are the main reasons I believe WoW is still the king of kings when it comes to MMOs in general, and will be for many, many years to come. So I know I sound like a Blizzard fanboy here, but hey, it is what it is, guys. If you're going to devote your time to an MMO, WoW is the one you're going to want to choose. I hope you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it, and don't forget to hit me with a like and subscribe if you did. May the loot gods be in your favor. I'm out.